everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the True Crimes of Scientology with Nora Ames. That's me. Thank you guys for being here. Let's liven up this place a little bit with some applause. Applause. Hi, everybody. Hi. Okay, so I have been in a straight up like, ooh, my whole thing is there we go. Like ADHD hole now for the past couple days. And that's a new opening. You guys I'm open to feedback. It's just something I threw together. You guys let me know. Yeah. The wheels of my mind have been turning. They're kind of on fire. That's what I feel like right now. Like my brain is on fire with the information that's turning in my head. So I'm going to try to make sense of all of that for you guys. And we're going to dive into a couple things. Now, some big news has been happening in the outer, fake space Navy cult situation. Okay. So let's start. And the title of this is very apropos. What is the leader of Scientology hiding? Okay, so we're going to go into a little bit of the structure, a little bit of the people, and then figure out what the fuck. Like, what can we what can we determine from all these facts? So let's rewind the clock. So back in time, okay, in 1967, when L. Ron introduced the fake space Navy, right, and recruited the first minions for the fake space Navy and embarked on his voyage, with his little mini flotilla, right, there were very certain people on those boats with him, okay, and it left a whole other structure, legal entities, LLCs, corporations, etc., all throughout the world that were still conducting themselves in the name Scientology, church, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Then, as we know, one wing, the former spy operative wing, the Guardian's Office, which was headed by Lafayette Ronald's wife, Mary Sue, it was disbanded right after the legal snafu known as Operation Snow White. Okay, so then we have the fake space Navy taking over those duties of a completely separate entity that was run by non-fake space Navy people, and it swallowed itself, that organization, and rebranded inside the fake space Navy as the Office of Special Affairs. Okay. So that is one entity, right? All of these things, this is the part of deconstructing Scientology that we have to understand, is that all of these entities are completely separate, okay? And I was diving into this, like, how are religions structured in, like, what happens when a religion has multiple locations, like multiple structures that it runs? How do they structure that? Right? Can they structure it as under one church, or each of those things separate? What are the pros and cons of that? Okay. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. But first, and I've got, guys, I just want you to see how many tabs that I have open here, because it is a ridiculous amount of tabs. Okay. This is where my brain is at right now. Okay. It's just tabs. And this is just a bunch of fucking ads here on the Daily Mail, which is annoying. Oh my God. How many Daily Mail, how many ads can you put on one page? Apparently all of them. Okay. So we're going to start here. This news broke from the Daily Mail, which then Tony Ortega covered later, that Marion Powell, okay, who spent right there her entire life in the Sea Organization, passed away in her 80s. Okay. So here we go. An Australian woman who was run out of Melbourne as a child due to her family's Scientology beliefs has died in Florida. So she was born in, like me, Marion Powell. Okay. She was 72. She died near the city of Clearwater. So she wasn't, She wasn't she wasn't dismissed from the fake Space Navy, but she was probably being held, much like Heber Jensch is, in a, some sort of like old fogies home for Scientologists. Now, you cannot find pictures of her or anything anywhere. There's David Miscavige. There's a never before seen photo of Marion at her wedding. Okay. This is obviously during the 70s. There's Jesse Prince. What's up with that? Who's that? That's Mike Rinder. Okay, so she wasn't a nobody in the church, right? She's standing here next to the bigwigs, okay, when she got married. Now, the only video that you can find of Marion Powell is on this website, ronmiscavigebook.com. This is the hate website that the fake Space Navy and David Miscavige's own son ordered to be made so that they could discredit everything that he says in this book, okay, in Ron Miscavige's book. Okay, let's just watch a little bit of Marion. This was, of course, published about a decade ago now when Ron Miscavige's book first came out in 2012.
My name is Marion Powell, and I've been a staff member for over 40 years. I've been a long-term friend of the Miscavige family. I first met them in 1972 when they came to the United Kingdom for religious services. I worked at the organization there, and it also just happens that my former husband was a musician.
So that's Marion. Okay. You've heard her name before, Heather, because whenever you would read a press release where the Church of Scientology International has to say, blah, 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 it was her name at the bottom of that. She was standing in for the president. And this is why I'm getting it. This is all circular, guys. Okay. So that's where you heard her name, is in all the press releases that were like, the Church of Scientology vehemently disagrees, blah, 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 all that shit would say Marion Powell at the end. Okay. So let's again go back in time. So when Lafayette Ronald establishes, okay, let me just escape here. That's Marion. Ah, I lost something else I didn't want to lose. Okay. When yes, she's from Australia. It says so in the article, Vernon. So when Heber Jensch joined the Church of Scientology in 1967, let's go here, Heber Carl Jensch, okay, born back in 1935, is an American Scientologist who served as president of Church of Scientology from 1982 to around 2010. There's never been another president. Maybe was it Karen? I think they're sisters, but I think it was also Marion. I could be mistaken. I don't know where Karen Powell is. That's a good question. Either way, it's fine. Thank you, Scientology up north. It could be Karen and not Marion, and I'm confusing the two. Yeah. Let's go back to the article here. She appeared in Scientology videos slamming that one I just showed you, leaving the church and writing a memoir about it. She said she'd helped Ron at his lowest point when his brother Red died, and that they were close family friends. She was upset. There's Lafayette Ronald and Mary Sue and their kids. Here's Marion Powell as a youngin' right there on the ship. There's Mary Sue on one of the boats, one of the dilapidated cattle boats they were on. Right. Right. So she was one of the people who had to leave the UK in 1965 when Scientology was trying to grab up all that tax money. Right. So her family left, and then she went and signed the billionaire fake Space Navy contract, right? There's Leah. Yeah, she was in there. She was working for many people. Ba 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 ba. She didn't go back to Holland to see her parents. When her father passed away, David Miscavige didn't even tell Marion that he was dying. His thoughts were that she didn't care enough about me when I was alive. Why would she care that I'm dead? That's sad. Pictures of Marion that Janice had. So she alleged that Powell had formed a crucial part of Scientology's defense of mass protests in the mid 2000s, which were sparked by an expose. The Tampa Bay Times Truth Revealed, right? The Truth Rundown series there. And Janice's mother, Yvonne Gent, that's Janice Gillum Grady, right? She built the Celebrity Center. Blah, 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 blah. Who's this here? Oh, Karen Powell. So Karen is her sister-in-law. You're right. So Karen is the one who's got her name at the end of everything. And she is like, don't you talk about my dead sister-in-law. Okay. Well, Karen is still alive then. I was confused. See, there you go. This is, my mind was so on fire, I couldn't not conflate them. But anyway, let's get to that. And if I go here, let's just look here. There she is. There's Karen. That's Karen. No, that's Spanky. That's not Karen. That's not Karen either. That's Karen. And that's her with Jenna Elfman and the lady who runs the Harlem Morgue, I believe. Yep. So there she is. She's still here, but they're not related. I mean, they're in-laws. It's not the same thing. So there's Karen. I don't know if she's shown up to any of these things. People in LA, has this lady been at the things, at the legal things? I don't know. We know Janet has been there, but let's get back to the hidden things here. Heber. Did you guys know that he has an IMDb page? He totally, look at this. Heber has an IMDb page. Okay. Because he was in some things, in some TV shows before he joined the fake Space Navy. What? Yeah. So he was the president until 2010. There's never been a vice president or another president, which is weird. That's weird. Okay, then when I was digging, let's just look at a couple other things. I was trying to find, well, let's go. My tabs are not in the right order. So back in the day, before Tony Ortega started his own blog, The Underground Bunker, and now his Substack, he was a writer for The Village Voice. Okay, and this is an article he wrote in 2012 while still writing for The Village Voice. Scientology's, oh, wow, it's like Tony Ortega called it a concentration camp. It's so weird that I get so much criticism for calling these things a concentration camp, which is exactly what they are. Okay, moving on. So he had talked to John Brousseau, fabulous source of information, by the way, and he was part of the fake Space Navy's concentration camp. Okay. And then the later incarnation of that and much stiffer punishment, if that's even imaginable, only for top executives located at their base there outside Hemet. Okay. So he gives the story of how it was born. And then in this article, they make a whole list of all of the people who were there, and it goes A to Z in order of last name. Okay. We're not going to get into all this nitty gritty of this Scientology's bullshit. I'm going to try and break it down for you in plain English what these people did. Okay. So Tanya Alexander, and I need to make a mind map of this, guys. So if anybody's like an expert on mind mapping, let me know, because I'm trying to find a good program to use on my Mac to do that. Yeah, so that I can literally structure this out so we can see it and see who's still here, who's not here, who's disappeared. You know what I mean? Like, we need a fucking visual. Okay, so we have Tanya Alexander. So she was basically putting things together, all the information, making sure that the books were put together correctly, the binders containing the information that you have to do as part of one of the indoctrination courses, right? All of that stuff. Okay. Lisa Allen, she was at one time the director, you would say, like CEO rather, okay, of Golden Era Productions. Okay, she was running that corporation for them. Okay. Whoa, Nora. Oh, for crying in a bucket, Nora. All right, there we go. All right, then we have Jennifer Alpers. She was the executive director or CEO of the Lafayette Ronald Messenger, okay, corporation, specifically located on the Freewinds, on that derelict boat that they owned called the Freewinds. Yes, Gen X Biatch, it's exactly that. It's like an FBI whiteboard, but digital. Yes, exactly. Oh, okay. MindX and MindMeister. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because I want to put this together in something like that. I'm a very visual person, so I need, it's all in my head and I understand it here, but it's easier to keep it all together when it's not just in here. Right. Okay. Mary Arbuckle, again, same job. Oh, Nora. As Tanya Alexander. Okay. She was putting stuff together. Gail Armstrong. Okay. She worked in Mike Rinder's organization. Okay. Doing publicity. Okay. Telling lies to the news and other things. Okay. That's what she did. Cheryl Acevedo. She was in what's called the Watchdog Committee. Okay. And those people structurally in Scientology does not exist anymore. Okay. But structurally, they were the oversight. It's basically like a Scientological oversight committee to make sure that all of the organizations beneath Lafayette Ronald and David Miscavige are doing their job. Okay. It's an oversight. Alan Bumgarden. Okay. So this guy was in charge of all the money internationally. Okay. This is the CFO international. Okay. There we go. Russ Bellin. So this guy was the executive director of a completely other LLC, the Church of Spiritual Trust, that keeps, these are the people that make the underground vaults all over the world. Okay. And they do the preservation initiatives to put all of Lafayette Ronald's insane words permanently etched into titanium plates that will never decompose, make things on records, titanium records and solar powered fucking record players, so that forever, if somebody digs up one of these vaults 10,000 years from now, they're going to think this was the religion of early man. Okay. Like, it's gross. Gross. Okay. Allison Biggs, she worked for the Lafayette Ronald Messenger organization. Okay. At the base there in Hemet. Okay. And Russ is still the president currently. Paralyzed to paralyze. Wow. Okay. Okay. There you go. Well, he's listed as it, right? He's listed in this I want to get into. Okay, so I'm just going to read the rest of the names. If we want it, you guys can screenshot this. One day we'll go through all of this. Okay, I just want you to see the volume of people that were held, that are still perhaps, or were at the time of this writing in 2012, we're talking 13 years ago, being held actively against their will, being kidnapped, okay, and human trafficked into a location in Hemet that you've heard Mike Rinder describe the conditions in there. You've heard Marty Rathbun describe the conditions in there. It's been described many times by Debbie Cook and other individuals, okay? So we have Dave Bloomberg, Pam Bolstad, Veronique Bromberg, Pat Buglewise. I don't know how to say that. I apologize, Pat. Marsha Callahan, Aaliyah Chisholm, Amy Clifford, Lisa Cohey, Amy Conley, Gary Conley, Debbie Cook, Astra Croft, Jerry Cruzen, Rick Cruzen, Tony DiCrescenzo. I'm going to put an asterisk by Tony. That is the former husband of Laura DiCrescenzo, who I was human trafficked and kidnapped to the Blue Buildings with while she was a minor. And her spouse was working as a minor also at that location in Hemet, and then was put into this these conditions. Okay. Julia Delderfield, Tom DeVocht, who now has his own blog and things like that. Blandine DeVry, Lisa Engine, Sarah Fear, Frank Fain, Paula Flood, Tom Ford, Monica Granis, Russ Grealick, Laurence Gunot, Bettina Henderson, Dave Henderson, Steve Hodkin, Karen Hollander, who I believe is out. She has left along with her daughters who were born in. Stephen Horwich, Becky Hughes, who is out. I was also incarcerated with her in the concentration camp at the Blue Buildings. Debbie Hughes, that's her mom. Greg Hughes, that's her dad. They are all out now. Marta Ida, Liz Ingber, Mark Ingber. Oh, Mark Ingber. So weird. He was one of the major executives that would like come out and talk to us about stuff at events. Okay. Thank you, Amy. Thank you. Can I diverge for 1 second here and just talk about Amy's comment for a second? I get so much pushback, you guys, from people who say, how dare you? How dare you? You know, use the word concentrate. You are spitting on the graves of all of the dead Jewish people from World War II. Fuck you. Okay. First of all, I'm not a Zionist piece of shit. Okay. Free Palestine, and let's have, no more fucking anti-Semitism. That's where I stand on these things. Okay. So if you can't fucking understand that. Okay. Thank you, Amy. I have Jewish relatives. I know that sounds weird for me to say because I'm not myself Jewish, because my mother was not Jewish. But I have other relatives, like my grandfather who married my step-grandmother, okay, who then they have children. I have half aunts and uncles who are all Jewish, okay? And they lived in a fucking kibbutz in Israel for years. So, like, I think I have a certain level of massive respect and reverence for Jewish people in general, and for the atrocities that are concentration camps. And by the way, for people who just say, well, you can't compare yourself and the conditions you were in to people who were, first of all, they weren't burned alive in ovens, okay? Like, please learn your history, okay? It was acid showers, and then like it's a whole thing. It's gross, okay? First of all, people died in the Scientology concentration camp, okay? That's a fact. People unalived themselves, and people also died from various conditions of neglect and malnutrition and cancer and other things, okay? Because they're held fucking hostage. And when you look at the early advent of concentration camps, okay, when they first started out, what were they? They were work camps. They were work reassignment camps, okay? That's how Dachau came about. Okay, the first camps, guys, weren't in Germany. They were in Poland. Okay. It's the same. Thank you, Amy. It is the same shit, different packaging. Okay? And controversy, ready? Political controversial statement. We're doing it here in America right now. Alligator Alcatraz is actually alligator Auschwitz. Okay? They're doing the same fucking thing. Okay? So please do not tell me that I cannot compare being held captive against my will, being hunted down for trying to leave, being malnourished, sleep deprived, forced to work through injury and, psychological and physical torture to what happened to those people. Because it's the same shit. And I promise you that if the fake space navy invented by L. Ron Hubbard's disgusting imagination could have figured out how to unalive us, they would have. Okay? Because that's much easier than feeding people 3 times a day. Okay? So I just want to say that. These people, this list of people that I'm reading off, have suffered physically and mentally disgusting human rights violations by an organization that claims to be religious in nature. Okay? And they keep getting away with this. This is from 2012, guys. This is 13 years ago. Nobody in the government 13 years ago saw this enormous list of people being held against their will and tortured physically and mentally and was like, maybe we should do something about that. Okay? Professor Kakan, listen, my dad was personal friends with Karen Hollander. That made it super awkward for me when I signed the billionaire contract at the Celebrity Center there, the Chateau in Hollywood, because she was the president then. And so it was like, how do I talk to this person? Yeah. I was hard pressed to find anybody who could ever have told a bad story about Karen Hollander, but I don't know everything. So if, people had a different experience with her, please, I validate that also, Okay. Calming. Let's get back to this list. Okay. Yeah. And here's the deal, Amy. These concentration camps of the fake space navy are on every continent. I'm going to repeat that for the people in the back. They are on every continent. We have 2 here in America, in Los Angeles and in Florida. Okay. There's one in South Africa. There's another one in Copenhagen. There's another one in the UK. I think the only places that we don't have one where, Lafayette Ronald's fever dream has a presence is Japan and any of the Asian countries because it's not a religion there. So they don't have the same types of organizational structures. And there's one in Australia. Every continent of Earth, except for South America. This is an international crime syndicate. Okay? So let's get back to this list here. We're not done with it. It's a lot of names. We're only at I. All right, so we have Liz and Mark Ingber, Michelle Jeremio, Christina Jensen, Meta Jensen, Heber Jensch, who we know, who's not there anymore. Apparently, he's retired doing his own thing. Charles Johnson, Powell Johnson, Sharon Johnson, Jacqueline Kevinar. Man, that lady's been around forever. Jackie Kevinar, Kobe Knight, Sue Kuhn, who was married to Dan Kuhn, who's now in is he in Norway or the Netherlands? I can't remember. It's one of those countries. And he's remarried, right? But he was famous in the fake space navy for appearing in one of Lafayette Ronald's, I Think I'm a Hollywood Director films known as, The Professional TRs. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Power. Yeah. Yeah. Where is Alex here? guys, I want to say something. This is why I'm trying to do more pre-records, okay? Because I'm going to keep diverging here all over the place, and that's fine. That's why you guys come to see the live. I want to say something real quick about Alex, okay? And I publicly apologized to Alex many moons ago for having harsh opinions publicly of him and things like that. But I want to say this. Over the past year, Alex has worked incredibly hard to fight back against Scientology in England in a very targeted, not in a like, like I only care about this thing, but like targeted towards them at the city level, right? Which is what I see very similar to what Audit and Amy and Laura and all the people who call in to the Los Angeles City Council are doing, right? It's kind of like a mirrored effect. However, Alex is just one person. Alex has been taking on this. It's totally different, their city councils and stuff, the way it works. These people walk in with like medals and shit. Like the way the mayors are and stuff there, it's very interesting to me. It's very old timey in England. They do like the fucking, they got these big, like, they wear the symbol of the city, like their fucking Flavor Flav, right? On their chests and shit. Anyway, and up at the district level, yes. So Alex has been combating this very strategically for well over a year now. And what Alex has accomplished on his own and organizing the several protests that he's organized, specifically on the pathway to Saint Hill and at the location itself, has achieved, monumental kind of pushback on Scientology there in England itself. Now, they've always had a rocky relationship there in England. As you know, in 1965, they were like basically almost kicked out entirely of England. Lafayette Ronald owed them a lot of taxes and things he didn't want to pay. So he ran away. He ran away to Rhodesia and tried to take over that country. And then he made, the fake Space Navy, because he realized you can't do things by yourself. You have to have an army of, brainwashed fucking sycophants to do that work for you, right? So Alex has been doing this, and what has the result of his efforts to expose Scientology, to get the truth out about Scientology in a very direct, learned, calm way? Well, they've made multiple hate sites about him. I feel left out. I feel left out. There's only other former Scientologists and then weird, never-end people who are obsessed with me who talk about. I feel sad. Like Scientology has never, considered me that big of a threat. And maybe that's their strategy against me. They know that I'm going to think about that all the time and be like, I'm just not good enough. And I'm just going to spin my wheels on that. And they send other people to tell me to go unalive myself constantly, Tony, other people who have said that, or suggested it, or try to say things that they think will make me feel like that. Several people over the last few years have been definitely encouraged to do that. So come to the IAS protest and I'll get a hate site. I don't know. Samuel doesn't have one, does he? And he was there in all of his gay fabulousness. I think they can't do a hate site on gay people. Because remember, they had that one gay guy, Keith, and then or it was not Keith, God damn it, I can't remember his name. And then he was like, Scientology loves the gays. And then he realized they really didn't. And then he spoke out. Now he's dead. R.I.P. One of my former students. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So I don't think that they can do like an anti-gay site because they're still trying to tell people that they love the gays. So that's like my shield. It's like, I'm so gay. They're like, oh, we want to hate her so bad, but she's too gay. Okay, let me get back to Alex here for a minute. But as a result of this, guys, this has been actually very detrimental to Alex personally, financially. Okay. And I bring this up because a while back, Alex was like, hey, shit's bad. Right. And Alex is a proud British man. Okay. British people, they don't, if you don't know that much about England, they don't fucking ask for help for shit. Like it takes, if a British person is like, hey, I might need maybe a bit of assistance on this thing. They have literally caught on fire, okay, and are burned on 90% of their body. And now they're just going to, you know, I mean, maybe if you wouldn't mind, I could maybe use some help. Okay. But I would, yeah, guys, I got to get over to the British Isles, as it were. Yeah, keep calm and carry on, Rox. You know, I mean, that's kind of the stiff upper lip and all that shit, right? That the Brits have. But let me go to Alex's page here, because I don't know if it's still up. But if it is, Alex, is it still up? I'm pimping you out right now, my friend, because you're doing a lot of hard work. And if you got it, listen, people on Reddit's going to go crazy right now. Reddit is absolutely these are the fun fucks that, you know, just are constantly, you know, trying to, you know, recreate 2002 for me. And you know, try to, you know, the truth of the matter is, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to post this. I'm going to share this post. This is a post that Alex made. How long ago was this post, Alex? It was 6 days ago. 6 days ago, Alex put this post out. I'm putting it up here in the chat. Okay. I'm also going to pull it up on the screen. Let me get my controls all straight here. All right. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Here we are. Okay. Hey, there's Alex again. I forget that in each scene, it doesn't remove the comment. Okay. So this is 6 days ago. Alex is just a wee baby. He's 30 years old. And there's a link for Alex's channel there from Rox. Thank you, Rox. Okay. In response, as you know, Scientology have been relentless in their fair games attacks against me. They have instigated a vicious smear campaign and contacted my employer, family members, friends, and business connections. This is like cutting someone off at the knees, y'all. It is vicious. Okay. Set up a hate website and persisted with an endless stream of well over 10,000 attack tweets, published countless Stan League articles and videos, and he had his fucking front door kicked in. Which, if you guys have ever replaced a door, that's not cheap. Okay. Oh, Nora, stop it. It's the wrong thing. Okay. I'm going to let you guys read this. He's trying really hard, but he hasn't set up like a GoFundMe because he's in England. So if you guys want, and if you can, help Alex to, you know, get his door fixed and, you know, maybe not become homeless as a result of fighting Scientology, there are his, let me copy and paste this in. He has a PayPal, okay, which can be used internationally now, which is nice. And buy me a coffee here. Okay. Of course, Alex, listen, I'm blessed right now because I don't have those things in my life. I just have, you know, other people that want to talk about me endlessly that, you know, it hurts me. It hurts my feelings. But I'm not at risk of losing my home right now. And I don't want anyone who's telling the truth about Scientology to experience any sort of financial, physical, mental hardship other than, you know, yeah, guys, this is real. Alex has 4 weeks to find somewhere to live. And if you guys have tried to find a flat or something recently, it's fucking hard. Okay. So whatever you guys can do, I know I need to do that. I need to do that. Yeah, I need to do that. It's a cesspool. It's awful. I don't know. I wish, guys, this is my Christmas wish. My Christmas wish here in July or August, it's actually August now. is that these people on these disgusting threads where they just have nothing to do apparently except for bitch about all of us. I wish that one of two things would happen. Either they would just stop, which isn't going to happen, or that somehow their true names would be revealed to the world. Because if you're going to say these vile, disgusting things and accuse people of gross, slanderous, vicious, libelous things on the internet, then you should have to do it with your whole fucking chest and your real identity. That's just what I think. Because guess what? This is my face and my mouth hole. And when I say something about somebody, I fucking mean it. And it came from me. And not from one of these little fucking, I'm going to hide behind this stupid little sassy name things. Okay. Alex, you can pop over anytime. I know that. You're not a distraction, my friend. You made me think about that because of all the things I'm talking about. It's just, listen, first of all, you deserve it. Stop being so British. Number two, okay, if I'm not making a demand, I'm not telling people turn this off unless you're donating to Alex right now. Like that's not what's happening. Okay. What I am saying is that this is real. Okay. And this is not because you went and destroyed property of Scientology. It's not because you went and shouted obscenities at Scientology's members. It's not because you even went out and I don't know what the rules are in England, to be honest. Like, like here in America, in most states, we can use chalk on public sidewalks because it can be washed off. It's not permanent graffiti, right? So I don't know if that's a rule in England that you couldn't even do that, but you weren't even doing that. Okay. I have never observed you one time at any protest, okay, being untoward in any capacity towards an active member of the fake space Navy or, Lafayette Ronald's fever dream disguised as a religion. Okay. So in my personal opinion, you have been above board in your dealings with this international crime racket. And in return, they are coming at you like a fucking tsunami, right? Which is insane, which only means, and unfortunately, like this is not consolation, but it means that you are effective, that you're fucking their shit up and they don't like you, right? So I think if people can happen or can help, that they should. Can you guys hang on? I have 3 children in this house right now. I just want to make this general announcement. I have 3 children in this house. There is a dog standing outside the garage crying, and not one child has come. Please hold. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that the ghosts in your house, Tilty, are not helpful. I feel like if you're going to be haunted, you should at least, put the dishes away or something. Like, help me out. Be like the ghosts in Casper, not like fucking Poltergeist, okay? All right. That's a bit of, if you guys can do that, they could at least pitch in, right? I feel you on that, Tilty. I feel you. All right. Let's get back to this list because we're still not done. All right. So we did Sue Kuhn, Teresa Lehner, Susie LaPlane, Tim Larson, Tanya Lefebvre. Again, I was kidnapped and held captive in the concentration camp with her husband. Kathy Lemmer, Angie Lemoyne, Robert Lemoyne, Andy Lenarkic. I'll go with that. Guillaume Lesève. Okay. The executive director of all of Scientology internationally. Okay. Just gone. There's no more person doing that job. Okay. Gary Liu, Jenny Linson, who we've seen. She was in that video. The wives that were interviewed by Anderson Cooper. There she was. Tammy Lundeen, Aaron Mason, Barbara McHenry, Janet McLaughlin, Carly McShane, Marcy McShane, Abigail Miller, Ray Midoff. Again, someone who was appointed after the whole David Mayo fiasco to be in charge of all of the technological prowess to make sure that every minister of this fake fucking church was doing the fake churching right. He's gone. Who's making sure of that? Nobody. Bruno Moresi, Janet Mortensen, Clark Morton, Barbara Newton, Corey Norton, Anna Maria Ogletree, Claudia Oleander, John Oldfield, Jan Olson, Kathy Andrecka, Dreka. I can't pronounce that. I apologize, Kathy. James Perry, Marie Noel Pletch, Lucky Porter. Sorry, Lucky. Marion Powell, R.I.P. She was in that place. Erd Priester, Marty Rathbun. We all know who Marty Rathbun is. Ellen Reynolds, Wendell Reynolds, Kathy Rinder. Oh, did she leave that out of the Anderson Cooper interview that she was being held captive and kidnapped in a fucking double wide? Yeah, she left that out, didn't she? Mike Rinder, Linda Roden, Steve Rule, Faith Schermerhorn. Wow. Peter Schless. That's the guy. On the wings of love. Only the two of us together flying high. That one. Yeah, he wrote that before he got sucked into the fake space Navy. Rita Schwartzgruber. It's like McGruber and Schwarzenegger had a baby. Schwartzgruber. Okay. Deborah Siegel. Ingrid Sorgen. Denise Somerville. Jody Spatel. Lyman Spurlock. Daniela Starkey. Norman Starkey, R.I.P. He's dead now. John Stumkey. Anki Stutter. Fred Schwartz. This is the father or uncle of Julian Schwartz, I believe. Yeah. Michelle Tampion. Melita Tampion. Fleur Thomas. Ooh, I went to Katie Sy. Nee Feshback. A Feshback was held captive. My goodness. Okay. Jens Yurskov. Tom Vorm. Bruce Wagner. Karen Wagner. Sebron Walker. Danielle Walker Bailey. Rena Weinberg. For those of you who are ex-peoples. Rena Weinberg. Richard Welch, Michelle Willis, Jessica Weinecke, who used to be Gilchrist, Nee Gilchrist, Kurt Wieland, Gary Owees, Greg Wilhare. I met him, and his wife Sandy. These were two of the bigwigs. Christy Wilhare, Sue Wilhare. These are people who were like originally trained by Lafayette Ronald. Diane Williams, Tom Willis, Mark Yeager. There's another guy we used to see at all the, fucking jamborees. Little, rehypnotization jamboree that's, Lafayette Ronald and company would hold. Laura Zern. She's the last one. Lori Zern. Okay. That's too many fucking people. That's too many. This is the list that Tony Ortega published in 2012 of the people being held captive at one location. One. A lot of those people held very important, very key roles structurally in the legal organization for Scientology. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so let's go to no. I don't need that. Okay, so I want to compare something right now with you guys. Okay. So as you guys know, Laura, if she's still in here, hi, Laura. Laura was recently requested, her presence was requested by allegedly the senior most like HR person, right? Because if you're in a regular corporation, the human resources department, HR, that's where you go if you have any sort of internal complaint about a coworker or, you have a problem with your job. Like all those things are under human resources. So in Scientology, there is no human resources. There's kind of a department of personnel in one division, right? That in that place you get assigned your job. Like their whole purpose is to assign you your job and then make sure these jobs are filled. That's it. Right. And then the other portion is in another division where if like you're messing up on your job and you need retraining or you need something like that, that's in another division. That's called the Department of Corrections. Okay. And you go there to kind of get like spruced up a little bit, fix it up. Okay. But where all of the complaints, right, and the kind of discipline exists, that's back in that first division, but it's a different department, right? It's the ethics department. Every single church of Scientology has a department of ethics, right? Division 1, Department 3, okay? On their little organization board. Okay. Now this department is basically the internal, self-report / snitch department that you go to. If you want to snitch on your coworker because they did something real bad, you write a report and you turn that in. Okay. And it goes to that department. Also goes to them and to everybody they know since kindergarten. Okay. Now, the person at the international level, right, who is in charge of all of the snitching and the consequences that happen, right, is called the International Justice Chief. Okay, so this is the guy or gal who's supposed to sit at this international level and decide if you're good or bad. And if you get booted from Lafayette's fever dream masquerading as a religion known as Scientology, The only person on planet Earth that you may speak to, because you are barred from speaking to other Scientologists, okay, is that person. According to Lafayette Ronald's, writings, the only person that you may speak to, and it's only if you want to get back into good standing, okay, if you want to come crawl your way back, I'm begging, please take me back. You contact that person. Okay. So as we know, Laura received a letter. I'm going to show you guys that letter because she posted it. And she posted it. It's not even her. I'm trying to figure out a way to block that out. It's not her address, but I don't want to put anything out there that would I want to I guess I have to do something else here. Let me go here. Guys, I'm very cautious, but I know this isn't, they put an address on her, but as you guys know from the story, they threw it at her, right? They just literally threw this envelope at her while she was out dining, right? So let me go here. Now will it let me do it? Yes. Now I want to. Oh. Please hold for the magic of Apple. Please hold. Yeah. Big Mike is missing and only the SPs know or care, right? How ironic. How ironic is that, Power? That the only people who even know who Mike Ellis is are suppressive persons in the eyes of Scientology. That is wild. That is absolutely wild. I'm just going to see if I can. Okay, good. Gone. Perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to show you guys this. Done. Perfect. Here we go. We're going to look at this. I know it is super ironic to me, but I'm glad. Thank you, Apple, for this magic. I did erase something I didn't want to erase, but that's typical me. It's a technical difficulty. I don't care. All right. So this is the letter that Laura received. That's her name at the top there. Dear Miss Anderson. Okay. July 16th. Okay. This is important. July 16th. Dear Miss Anderson, I have been informed that the Church of Scientology International, not the Church of Scientology International, intends to request that the arbitration committee call you as a witness at the next meeting of the ongoing arbitration requested by Valerie Haney. Now, all of that is a lie. Valerie didn't request this. We all know this anyway. Please be available during that week, which was last week. She went in on Monday. We know this. She did a video about it. Sincerely, Mike Ellis. Okay. Can we zoom? Yes. I want to zoom in. Oh God, I love this so much. Okay. We're going to zoom in as much as we can on this signature. I really want you guys to look at this signature. Notice the M, the angle of the K and the E, and specifically this E. This is a distinctive E, guys. Wouldn't you say? That's a distinctive way to write an E. And then you have this little dot, LLI, and then the S just sort of never gets closed. Okay. Now, we're going to... so many pictures here, guys, but that's fine. Doesn't matter. I can't get out of that. Okay. Here we go. So now we have that E. Now I have another document to show you guys. Okay. This is dated 2004. This is the letter that Mike Ellis in 2004 wrote back to one of the Jane Does, who she was listed as Jennifer B in the case. And this is evidence in the case. I want you guys to now look at this signature. Notice the E, which connects with the L's. Okay, can I zoom in on this? Can we zoom in? I think I have to go to my controls here. Here we go. Okay. So you guys see that? That, in my opinion, look at the M, how much sharper it is than the first one. And look at that E, totally different. The S still drops off at the end. They really concentrated on this S at the end here, which they did get correctly. The K is at a completely different angle. Joe, I'm going to send you both these things. This is from my no training. I can see these are two different signatures. Okay. These are the only two samples I have. And I'm telling you right now, look at that M. It's a M and then it's disconnected. You see, it's a sharp V. It's a sharp V. Let's go. I wish I could pull both these things up. Oh, I can. Actually, I can't. Give me a second. I'm going to pull them both up side by side here. 1 second, because these are in two separate programs. So how do I get... Give me a second here, guys. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to, now that you guys have seen the documents, I'm going to take a screenshot and we're going to make that as big as I can. There we go. Then we can look at these two side by side. Here we go. I did it. I have to fix everything here, but okay. On the left over here, this is this year. This is 2004. Notice the M is together here with a little boop at the end. There's no boop, no distinctive boop, but the M is not together, and the angle is correct, but the M is together, not together in the middle. Okay. The I similar, but this K here, okay, the KE is not quite the same. Now, listen, guys, when I sign my name, it fucking gets totally fucked up. Okay. Just totally fucked up every single time. But whatever. Okay. But the E is the most telling thing for me. Also, this S, look at the different angle. They got the S correct, but they didn't angle it. This tells me Mike Ellis may be left-handed, and the person who wrote this is right-handed. Okay, because left-handed people tend to tilt their things, their letters more, right? Because sometimes left-handed people write from the top, or my mother writes this way, which is very rare for a left-handed person, right? So my mom's handwriting is very strict, but mostly left-handed people is angled like that because they write from the top down. Yes, handwriting is subject to change over time, correct, but it wouldn't get neater over time. This is 2004. This is 2025. We are talking 21 years later, and somehow his signature got neater? I don't think so. I don't think so. It can change. It definitely look at the difference between the signature on Heber Jentz's letter to his niece that came in 2018 and Heber Jentz's signature from 20 some odd years ago. It looks like an old man is writing because an old man is writing. This looks like somebody else wrote it. Especially when you've, as an adult, you have, right. Thank you. Thank you. You're a lefty. Your signature leans to the left. Yes. Yeah. 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 The M and the E, totally different. Now, my first name is Nora. You guys all know that. I don't write the N as a printing N. I do it in cursive. I have a very big swoop at the end of my N because I was dramatic when I was coming up with my signature as a teen. Okay. I have tried doing the uppercase, just, regular N with like a flourish at the top. And then the ORA ends up kind of like, right? My last name is atrocious. The way I sign it, it's awful. AMES. It's very hard, but I do. And that one, this is why my signature is so weird, is I do a printing A and then write the rest in cursive. I don't do the cursive A, which would make more sense. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. This is what I'm saying. Right? So I think Mike Ellis may be one of these people. The dots on the I are very, this is what I'm saying, but look how the dot is here above the L and the dot here is below the L. They worked really hard on duplicating the L's, okay, because they got a small one and a big one, but they put that dot way up there. And notice how the I in this one comes up higher and it's here like level with this E, which is not this E. Yes, the kind of pen you use can change it also, but it's not going to change you doing a loop-de-loop in an E and doing an open squiggle E. That is very distinctive. Okay? I'm just saying, this is in my opinion, this is not the same person signing these two documents. That's all I'm saying, guys. Okay? That is suspicious. And I think, thank you, the M and the E is not like the same person. Can you do a screen grab of this, Joe, and send it to your uncle and ask him? I want to know if he's got time to just quickly look at these two things and be like, that's not the same. Or what, and break it down. Yeah. So my theory is, right now, my working theory is that we don't know where Mike is. He didn't show up at all to the arbitration, even though supposedly he's supposed to be the only person that Valerie and Laura can talk to. Okay. Guys, we are getting a lot of stories about people engaging in forgery. Please do not confess to active crimes in the chat. Okay. The signatures tell me a fucking volumes of data right here. Okay. Volumes of data. Where is Mike Ellis? He is supposed to be the international representative for all of Scientology in terms of their fake arbitration, which is not part of the doctrine anywhere written by Lafayette Ronald. And he's the reason why all of this has been happening to Valerie, that it happened to Luis Garcia and his wife, that they're trying to do that to Valeska Paris, that all of these things keep getting pushed, right? They wanted to do that to the Jane Does in their civil litigation against the church and Danny. They want to try and do that with Jane Doe versus David Miscavige and Gavin Potter. If there is no person holding this position because the position itself does not exist, then every argument they're making legally is a fucking lie. They are lying to the courts. And if I were Valerie Haney's lawyer, or any of these lawyers that are facing Scientology right now, I would demand to physically see Mike Ellis in the courtroom to have him testify before the judge that these are the doctrines and produce said doctrines by Lafayette Ronald, which dictate these practices. Because any other doctrine is not valid in Scientology unless it was written by Lafayette Ronald and approved by him. Those are the rules. I didn't make them. Those are the rules that Lafayette Ronald put out. Okay. Now, let me get back to, now here's where my mind went on a journey. Okay. So I'm looking at these signatures thinking, that's not the same. That's not even close to the same thing. Okay. So then it got me thinking about all those other people. Where the fuck are they? Right? It's not just Mike Ellis that's missing. It's all those people on that list, right? Now, for example, when was the last time that we heard from any of these other executives? Okay. This is from there's some declarations here. Okay, there we go. So there's some declarations here. This one is from Ray Midoff, okay, who's formerly the most senior technical overseer of the whole thing, okay? He wrote this declaration, 2009. Okay, this was to push back. These were the declarations that were put out by Scientology to push back against the Truth Rundown series of articles that came out in the Tampa Bay Times. Okay, so they had all of the key people who we know were in that hole because their names are on there. Okay, say how everything's fine, right? I'm a resident of California, U.S. citizen. I'm 58 years old. I'm of sound mind. So this is, he'd be 70, 2009, 16 years ago. So he'd be 74 right now, 74. Okay. He was 58. I do it under my own free will, blah, 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 blah. He didn't write any of this. Okay. He knew Lafayette Ronald. He's talked to David Miscavige, is just wonderful. Blah, 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 blah. In the entire time that I knew Rathbun, this is specifically to debunk Marty Rathbun, as a church staff member, which was from 1984 until he deserted the church. Only in Scientology are you deserting when you fucking leave. It's not a military operation, guys. It's a fake space navy. You can't desert a church. He chronically fouled up legal and other external matters he was meant to handle. What does that mean? He was meant to handle? Interesting choice of words. He routinely acted like a bully towards his fellow members, staff members. Marty Rathbun's behavior was irrational and bizarre in the extreme. Despite everything, he was still given a chance to straighten himself out and start the following technology. But he refused. His pretended authority was now gone, and he hated it. He didn't have pretend authority, guys. He didn't have pretend authority, Marty Rathbun. He was number 2. David Miscavige is up here. Marty Rathbun was right here. right under him. Okay. If Marty Rathbun walked into your organization, he was a representative of all of the fake Space Navy, and specifically Mr. Miscavige. There's thousands of people that will testify to that. Okay. But you have to remember that in the early 2000s, okay, around the time that I was incarcerated and held against my will, kidnapped in the blue buildings there in Los Angeles in the concentration camp, David Miscavige became disillusioned with the people who were pushing back against his authority. And so he started dismantling one by one all of the institutions that were overseeing and doing oversight in various areas, because when he wanted something, people could bring to him some of Lafayette Ronald's writings and say, sir, we can't do that because right here, Lafayette Ronald says that's never to happen. So he got rid of all of the people that had ever pushed back to say, what you're doing, sir, is not what Lafayette Ronald wanted. Erase them from history. And it has just been doing his own thing since then. It is no longer the Church of Scientology, in my opinion. It is the Church of Miscavology. He's completely changed. If Lafayette Ronald reappeared right now and walked into any random building claiming to be a Church of Scientology and saw what they were doing to his words, to his technology, he would fucking burn it down. He would be so pissed. He would find David Miscavige and throw him overboard of every vessel in the ocean. That's what would happen. Because he has pushed Scientology so far away from, and guys, there's no benefit to Scientology. There is no reason to ever dabble in it or do anything like that. But in Lafayette's mind, there was a journey that people were supposed to be on. They're not on that journey. They are in a circular corn maze that once you enter, you cannot leave. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, I had some more stuff about Guillaume pulled up. This is another article Tony wrote. That's the declaration. What do I have here? Okay. Here's where we get into the fine print. This is where we're going to go on the fine print journey, kids. Okay. That's Karen Powell. Okay. So I was doing little Google searches here. Okay. So under the law, does a church with multiple branches, because that's how I would describe Scientology, do they have to be separate entities, separate LLCs? Okay. So a church can operate with a single legal entity, often a nonprofit corporation that encompasses all of its branches. Okay. There's alternatively, a church can choose to create separate LLCs for different branches or ministries if desired. Who's voting down right now? How that's got to be an OSA person. They're like, God damn it, she's showing facts again. Downvote. All right, sorry. I'm gonna not get distracted by the downvotes. But if you haven't liked the stream already, please do. Please give it a boop that like button and subscribe. I'm fun. Okay. Benefits of using separate LLCs. Okay. So they can provide an additional layer of protection by isolating liabilities, right? So why is Narconon a separate entity from the Church of Scientology Celebrity Center International? To isolate liabilities. Okay. This means if a lawsuit arises from a specific branch, the assets of the other branches or the main church might be protected from legal claims, right? A separate LLC can hold assets such as real estate, like the International Landlord's Office, or specific investments, like the Church of Spiritual Trust, keeping them distinct from the day-to-day operations and potential liabilities of other branches. Separation of the church-related projects. Separate LLCs can be used to manage different projects or programs independently, allowing for cleaner organization and potentially distinct management structures. Okay, so we know some of these structures, right? We have the Religious Technology Center, and you have the Authorization Verifications and Corrections Unit. Those are the two co-equal mom and dad branches at the very top. And underneath them are various structures. Okay. Tax advantages. Taxes. Depending on how the LLC is structured and managed, it might offer tax benefits for certain activities, such as unrelated business income. Okay. But it can be complex. Okay. Involves additional administrative work, legal fees, and potential filing requirements. Okay. So that those different entities may have different filing requirements with who? The IRS. Okay. All right. So to effectively achieve liability protection, each LLC must be meticulously maintained as a distinct legal entity with separate finances, records, and governance structure. I want you to hone in on that. Governance structure. So that means that each single one of these nonprofit LLCs, okay, have to have a governance structure. Keep that in mind, because where's Ray? Where's Guillaume? Where are these people who were on that? Heber was signing checks and shit. Where are they now? Okay. So the next question I asked, what structure does a nonprofit corporation have to have in order to maintain its nonprofit status? So to maintain it, under the IRS, a nonprofit corporation needs to be structured in a way that ensures it operates exclusively for charitable, educational, religious, scientific, or other exempt purposes and does not serve private interests. Does not serve private interests. Okay? They have to have, okay, these are the documents. Okay? Articles of incorporation. They must clearly state the organization's exempt purpose and include a dissolution clause that dictates how the organization's assets will be distributed upon dissolution, ensuring they are dedicated to another 501c3 exempt purpose. Okay, they have to have bylaws that govern the organization's operations, including election and duties of the board of directors and other officers, meeting procedures, and conflict of interest policies. Okay, the minimum number is 3 board members. Okay, that they have to maintain at all times. They have to have independent board members to prevent conflicts of interest and maintain public trust. A majority of the board members should be unrelated by blood, marriage, or business association. This goes for all nonprofits, not just the Church of Scientology. Board members have fiduciary duties of care, loyalty, and obedience to the organization. Acting with the same prudence and diligence as a reasonable person in a similar position. Acting solely in the best interests of the nonprofit, avoiding self-dealing or personal gain. Ensuring the organization complies with its mission, bylaws, and all applicable laws and regulations. They have to have a conflict of interest policy, guys. A written policy must be in place requiring board members to disclose potential conflicts and recuse themselves from voting on matters where a conflict exists. The policy should also outline how the board manages conflicts and determine whether they exist. Okay? So, exempt purpose. The organization's activities must align. The activities, guys, the activities must align with its stated exempt purpose and primarily benefit the general public rather than private individuals or interests. Prohibition on private inurement. No part of the organization's net earnings can benefit private shareholders or individuals. It's very important because there's one person in Scientology that's getting a lot of benefits. Like all the benefits. His name is David Miscavige. Okay. Limitations on political activity. Now, this has kind of been newly changed. This is up for vote, I think. Anyway, lobbying and political campaign activities must not constitute a substantial part of the organization's activities. Financial transparency. Nonprofits are required to file Form 990 annually with the IRS, providing information on their finances, governance, and activities, which is then made available to the public. Transparency in financial reporting is crucial for building trust with donors and stakeholders. Public support test. Public charities must demonstrate they receive a substantial portion of their support from the general public to maintain their classification. Okay, then there's different state stuff. You can have legal counsel. Okay. So then I asked, are churches required by law to provide their legal structure? According to the IRS, churches, including synagogues, temples, and mosques, are automatically considered tax exempt if they meet the requirements of 501c3. Okay. So what are these things in churches? Okay. So they get this automatic exemption. Okay. If they meet those things that's for the general public. Okay. To qualify, churches must be organized and operated exclusively for religious, educational, or other charitable purposes. They must not engage in political campaign activities or allow their net earnings to benefit private individuals or shareholders. Many churches still seek formal recognition from the IRS through a very specific form because it provides reassurance to leaders, members, and contributors about the church's tax-exempt status and eligibility for tax-deductible contributions. This can also be beneficial for establishing credibility with grant-making foundations and organizations that require proof of 501c3 status. Okay? But right here, guys, this important note. This is what caught my eye here. It's important to note the difference between churches and other religious organizations. While churches enjoy automatic 501c3 status, other religious organizations like ministries or faith-based nonprofit generally need to apply for tax-exempt status through the IRS. So then I was like, what is Scientology? Is Scientology categorized by the IRS as a church or as a religious organization? They are not a church. They are not a church. They are a religious organization, according to the Internal Revenue Service of the United States. However, this status was the result of a protracted legal battle, and the IRS revoked the organization's exemption in the 60s before eventually reclassifying it in 1993. Okay, so here, 1957 to 1967, 10 years. They initially granted it, but then revoked it due to concerns that the organization was operating for private gain. Like, as in L. Lafayette Ronald was getting all of the money, which he was. In 1993, after extensive litigation, blackmail, the IRS granted Scientology a 501c3 status, recognizing it as a legitimate religious organization. They did not recognize it as a church. They are not recognized as a church. It's very important. Okay. It allows them to be exempt from federal income tax and operate as public charities or religious organizations. But as they are not a church, they are a religious organization, that means we should all be able to see the breakdown of all of their info financially. Right? Because for those of you who haven't seen, a few days ago, I published a short. It's 3 minutes. I'm going to play it here real quick. That I titled Follow the Money. This has to do specifically, and this is just one thing to consider, guys. This has to do specifically with my own personal income in the years that I was held captive against my will and signed the billionaire contract inside of Scientology. So I'm gonna play this for you guys now. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's 3 minutes. You can do it. Okay. All right, let's do this here so you guys can see. It's a teeny tiny me in the corner. Here we go. Yes, I know I misspelled underwear. I apologize. Okay, well, that's the super uplifting, inspirational video that I made. Guys, it is increasingly difficult for me as a human being to be okay with the fact that I threw away or had stolen from me, or however you want to think about it, or frame it, that during those very important years where my brain was finishing forming, okay, because the human brain does not finish fully forming into its permanent form until the age of 25. Okay. So that torture and physical, emotional torture that I endured for those years and not even compensated for it, like properly, if there is such a thing as proper compensation for that. Happy. Yes. Yes. The calculation for the allowance, which is $50 a week, was made by Lafayette Ronald in Madagascar in 1964 based on local average cost of living in Madagascar. Like, bruv, come on. It sickens my stomach to think about that, guys, to look back on my very, very young, naive self at that time and think about what I endured, what I was enslaved for those 8 years, and what I have to show for it in my later years, right? Because for those of you non-Americans, okay, every year that you are legally employed, your income is reported to the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. And then based on your lifetime earnings, right, every year, all of your earnings, based on your lifetime earnings, they come up with this like average that you are then compensated once you reach retirement age. Guys, because of my various jobs, which is, even after I left Scientology, I've had a lot of different jobs. Because of the varying nature of my income, I will probably get maybe $1,500 a month when I'm retirement age. It won't exist by the time I get there, but that's another story. That is not enough to live off of. That's what we do here in America. We just give you some pennies and hope you can eke it out. And that's due a lot to those 8 years, right? Because that's not a nothing burger amount of time. That's 8 years of employment. And then I was a stay-at-home mom for a number of years. I did not have a formal income until my ex-husband and I, like formed a business that I was part of, yeah. And even then that income wasn't a lot. That was not a lot on the struggle bus. As many small business owners are. That's not that's neither here nor there. But the lack of pay, the atrocious conditions that we were housed in, which are very aptly described right there in that book. This one, Child X, and in this one, The Bad Cadet by Catherine Polino. Get both of those today. The food that we had access to that was given to us 3 times a day, sometimes. Not great. Not great. And it has lifelong consequences. Lifelong consequences for those of us who survived that. Yeah. You're on chapter 5 of Child X? All right, girl. Yeah. So when I look at these structures, okay, this massive criminal racketeering, human trafficking, fucking scheme known colloquially as Scientology, and we see all these people that are missing that absolutely were on various boards of directors for multiple different entities. Who's on those boards now? Question 1. Question 2. Where does the money go? Now, as in my video, I was pointing out that the chateau that I worked for that also paid me occasionally quarter pay while I was on the concentration camp, because you get paid by the organization that you signed the billionaire contract at, unless you get traded like a fucking baseball player mid-season like we just did to Yastrzemski. Don't get me started. Then that organization pays your quarter pay, which is $12.50 before taxes. Okay. Hey, Laura. Right. Laura, did you see the two signatures that I compared? The signature on the letter you got and the signature from 2004 that one of the Jane Does got in response to her letter. Those are not the same signature, Laura. I'll wait to hear formal comment maybe from a handwriting expert if Jojo's uncle would care to comment on that in an informal capacity. Okay. Where does the money go? Where does it go? Laura, I'll bring it back up for you right now. I'm going to bring it back up for Laura because she missed it. Let's bring up those two signatures. Oh, God. Dang it. Where are my signatures? Where did they go? Okay. That's one. And okay. I need to scoot this puppy over and then scoot this one over. We're going to bring him up again, Laura. Here we go. Look at the signatures. While we're asking the question, not only where is Mike Ellis, because Laura, the one on the left, this one, that's the signature on your letter. And that is the signature that one of the Jane Does got back on her letter that was submitted as evidence in the Danny Masterson trial. So they submitted this as evidence. Notice this isn't evidence anywhere because they know. They know. Yeah, that song. Yeah, it's different, right? Laura, you can see the difference, right? The M and the E, totally not the fucking same. Yeah. It's not the same. I'll send you the other one. Like, this is, guys, this has to, Valerie needs to submit this. And I'll send it to you, Laura, and you can send it to her. I don't think I have Valerie's number, but, or maybe I do. I'll send it to her. But this has to be submitted as evidence to the court. It's not the same fucking person. So who fucking asked you to come to this arbitration? How is this arbitration legal if there is no international justice chief to oversee it? These are valid questions right now. So what the fuck is David Miscavige hiding? This is my summation of that, guys. I think he's hiding the fact that all of this money that is coming in from the thousands, and I do mean thousands of front groups, okay? All of these different entities, these different LLCs, these different single, churches that are all individual corporations, okay? All of that money is being funneled up through other corporations to one place, to one account. Who has access to that account? Who is spending money from that account? Because I can tell you, it's not the the fucking fake Space Navy people who are eating beans and rice and shit, who we've seen now back at the test center, who we've seen back at the Hollywood Guarantee building with the, Lafayette Ronald, fake exhibit about his bullshit claims that none of which are true. Okay. We've seen them, people who are still working there over at the Blue Buildings and over at the Chateau. So all of this money that they are conning. Yeah. This is my question, Laura. How does a signature mature into a cleaner version after so many years? This man would be in his 70s. How is his signature better now than it was before? Exactly. You would think they would be reversed. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, none of that makes sense. None of that Valerie needs to get a handwriting expert immediately. Immediately. And get that evaluated. Apparently Jojo's uncle he used to do that in Scotland. So he might be available. Anyway. Where is this money going? Well, I can tell you this. When you see David Miscavige, okay, let's just look at the evidence. When you see David Miscavige in pictures with Tom Cruise, is he wearing the little drab uniforms that the fucking other fake Space Navy people are forced to wear? No. Is he wearing the upstat civilian clothes that they've just had in mothballs for years from when they first joined the fake Space Navy? No. That man is in custom leather jackets. He's in custom shoes, custom clothes, right? How was that paid for? Well, number one, they forced the indentured servants in the fake Space Navy, okay, his personal slave army, to donate portions of their salary for presents to dear leader. The other way is, who has access to the money? Because it certainly isn't the international finance director or the CFO of Scientology, because that guy's in the fucking, concentration camp in Hemet. Who has access to the account? Who's holding the ATM card? There's only one person that could answer. And that alone violates the IRS rules of how a 501c3, a religious organization, is supposed to operate. In the same way that, oh God, what was the gang guy, the mafia guy? Now all I can think of is Dillinger, but it's not him. They did not Oh, girl, we on it like a bonnet. We on it like a bonnet. Where is Mike Ellis? Nobody even holds that job. Capone, thank you, Al Capone. They didn't get Al Capone for his mafia shit, did they, guys? Did they get Al Capone for the bodies he dropped? Did they get Al Capone for the bootlegging? Did they get Al Capone for all that shit? No. They got him for tax evasion. Tax evasion. Dear IRS, you guys want to recoup some billions, some billions right now, billions, possibly trillions with a T, start digging into Scientology and its thousands of entities and follow the money. Follow the money. And also David Miscavige. Hi, David. Hi, Wavy Davy. Whichever one of Tom Cruise's, love nests you're hanging out in. Well, he pretends. Guys, I'm sorry. But I'm just I'm going to talk about Tom Cruise for 1.5 seconds here. The fact that a 64-year-old man thinks that it's appropriate to get with a woman literally half of his age. A 29-year difference. Ana de Armas, please do us all a favor. You gorgeous queen. Please Google #RunKatieRun. Please, Katie Holmes, Nicole Kidman, can you reach out to this young lady? Can you let her know what she is stepping into here? Can someone, Mimi Rogers, Nassim, anybody, okay? Penelope Cruz, can y'all form a little fucking, First Wives Club or some shit and fucking contact this young lady and let her know you in danger, girl. You in danger, girl. And 64-year-old men, can you stop being disgusting and dating someone your own child's age? It's fucking disgusting. Jesus Christ. Oh, who is that? I don't know who that is. Send me an email. I will, yes. Yeah, Ana de Armas. Run, Anna, run. We need to start that. Mimi Rogers is the reason he was there, but guess what? She got fucking kicked the fuck out when they wanted him to have a younger, hotter wife. Yeah. Wasn't a good look for him to be in love with an older woman. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she got excommunicated. Yeah. Yeah, YRB. Yeah, the little tiny baby man is living beyond his means, eating lobster and caviar and sushi when his indentured servants, human trafficked slaves from around the globe, don't. Yeah. My new email is truecrimewithnora@gmail.com. So we have to stay on this. We have to stay on this. But Laura's right. Where is Mike Ellis? Now, I'm not a lawyer. Valerie, contact your lawyer. This is my advice. Okay? Contact your lawyer. They need to produce Mike Ellis in the courtroom. Whatever that, a writ of habeas corpus, I don't fucking know. They need to compel him to arrive to testify in front of the judge that he is overseeing this arbitration as per the Garcia case, okay, where he made this shit up on the spot. And if they cannot produce the person who's supposed to be overseeing this sham of a sham, then it should be canceled. I want it. He's supposed to be overseeing it. He hasn't shown up at one meeting. I want him to testify in front of the judge that he is receiving reports, written, there's video, something that he's reviewed to make sure it's all per the procedure. Because they're not. Okay, good, Laura. I'm just saying, Scientology, where's Mike Ellis? Where is Mike Ellis? Where is the alleged international justice chief? Where is he? Oh, guys, if you emailed me at an old email, I still get all of them. So don't worry. Email me at any email. I'm going to get it. I have a lot of emails. But it's all forwarded to one email that I check every day. It's right here on my Bahone and on my computer. Okay. But guys, where's Mike Ellis? With a real Mike Ellis, please stand up. Because that's not his signature. That's not it. This is it. That is not it. All right, go get your outside time. That's so important. Let me get to your questions and comments here real quick, guys. This has been a wild one, but where's Mike Ellis? All right. Who sent a super chat? What's going on here? West Coast Fancy Nancy. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let me get to your questions here. Question. No, I did not know her. No. I think we answered that, Heather. What is John Brousseau up to now? I don't know, but he's a wealth of knowledge too. You got kicked off that Reddit after 2 hours when I was just asking questions. So it's so toxic. I don't even have it downloaded anymore. Yeah. Where did Tony give those names from? Amy, Mike, and John Brousseau. 3 people who were there in that place. What would their arguments be if you read rules to them? I mean, we see that they don't follow these guidelines, but I'm curious to know what they're... Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Barry Snyder, isn't Scientology's structure similar to the Catholic churches? Each diocese owns its own... that's what I said. Hang on. Sorry. I'm just reading a very important message from JoJo. It isn't Scientology's structure similar to each diocese owns its own real estate and assets. Individual dioceses are being bankrupted. Yeah, it's similar. It might be the same exact structure. I don't know. I'd have to dive into more of the Catholic Church structure to find that out. But that's a good question, Barry. That's a good question. How many of the fake Space Navy members voluntarily gave blood to the UCLA blood drive? Was that recent? Was that recently they did that there on the Big Blue grounds? I'd probably say none, because they can't get time off to do those things. Okay. Tom Cruise only pretends to like surf culture so that no one questions him on why he is belly down in the fucking ocean. Tilty, you're cracking me up today. Comments. Let's get to the comment. Oh, that's not a word, Nora. Put a T on the end of that. Oh, Vernon, I'm so glad you got Jamie's book. Fantastic. Fantastic. They probably aren't replacing their numbers after they die. No member replacement. Oh, no. Well, that's why they have to keep recruiting children, right? So they can have them for longer. Okay. Anything spelled W-I-C-Z is usually pronounced whiz or wits. Okay. Thank you. I always refer to the cult as a concentration camp too, Nor. I told the LAPD that they have a concentration camp under their noses. Yeah, they should fucking know. As a never-in, I'm wondering now for a long time, how is the normal everyday life in the fake Space Navy on staff or even as a public? Cultish. Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question, and that's a great topic. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, Gen X Biatch nailed it. This is why so many casualties of Scientology have health concerns, major health concerns, y'all, after having been mistreated for years. Yes. I'm giving Jeffrey Osborne. Stop it. Yeah, I agree, Tilty. Just my personal opinion here, but just saying, no child should have an ethics folder. If you think that's okay, please seek counsel. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you, Amy. I will check that out. Yeah, Mike Ellis is not doing that job. It doesn't even exist. So how on earth is he overseeing this arbitration for Valerie Haney? That's the question. As someone who's obsessive about literacy shit and also autistic and also used to work at a job where I was forced to forge my boss's signature, you have opinions on this. Yeah, Stacey, there are parallels, many parallels between the fake space Navy and the Stasi of the Nazis. Yeah. Oh, this is an accurate description, Tilty, that Scientology is the antithesis of Sesame Street. I agree. I would stand by that. Okay, Mona. Fantastic. Thank you, Power. You're not misusing the chat. Stop that. That's the only good comment. Tilty, stop it. Stop that. All right. So I'm not gonna bring up our whole chat here, but breaking news. I did hear back from JoJo, who heard back from her uncle, who, in a very cursory look, without his very important magnifying glass, had the following to say in an informal, not done statement. But at first glance, the two signatures show notable differences in pressure, slant, and letter formation, which may suggest they were not written by the same individual or were produced under different conditions. He said there are discrepancies between the two signatures that warrant further analysis before determining authenticity. This person is a forensics and handwriting expert. That's just on a glance, guys. Forgery or duress? Correct. Okay, so Ashley and Lara talked to the blood donor crew at Big Blue's wimpy version of National Night Out. And they said 35 donors gave blood. All of the niacin in their blood, they're too weak. Yeah. Well, also, let's be honest. You're not going to get time off to do anything. Guys, you can hardly get time off for a death in your family. What the fuck do they care about you donating blood to save people's lives? They do not. Oh, thank you, Oregon Valley girl. Thank you for that. All right. So, guys, I think I'm going to bring it up one more time. I think this is a smoking gun right here that proves without a doubt that either Mike Ellis does not exist anymore in the physical realm. Miriam, probably not. Okay. That either Mike Ellis is so infirm, so addled of mind, okay, that he cannot sign his own name, and so someone else is signing it for him. He is no longer among us, among the living. He has gone AWOL. He's missing. But that is, in my opinion, not the signature of Mike Ellis. And until I see him living and breathing in a court of law, swearing on a Bible that he's alive and that's him, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Oh, hot dog, Sarah Heller. Hot dog. Committing forgery and cover-up of possible death, demise, or departure of Mr. Mike Ellis? That's a bad look. That's a bad look, Scientology, because let's just say hypothetical. Let's play a hypothetical real quick. Hypothetically, if that is not, in fact, Mike Ellis's signature in the year of our Lord 2025, and Mike Ellis is gone in some capacity from that job, and has not been doing that job in the course of this sham of arbitration that has been enforced on Valerie and other people who have pending cases right now, that would mean that Scientology has perjured itself in all of these legal proceedings. And I'm pretty sure there's big consequences for perjury in every state. And this would open up further investigations into every aspect of Scientology. I think somebody just fucked up. I think somebody just fucked up. Because the way we do away with their religious organizational status, because remember, don't get it twisted, they are not a church in the eyes of the law here in America. They are not a recognized church, is exactly this. Because if they are violating that, what other parts of the 501c3 requirements are they violating? Where is the money going and who is benefiting? Let's start digging, guys. Let's start digging, and let's send all of the vibes to Valerie and her lawyer, because this is enormous. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Watch out, Scientology. You done fucked up. And I'll see you guys all on the flippity dippity. Thank you, as always, to my mods for keeping this stream right and tight. Thank you for all of you viewing and the truth that we're constantly trying to bring out here on this channel. Please go see my other videos. Click that link for my link tree, and I'll see you next time on the flippity dippity.